All right, let me talk a little bit about the Trump border tax proposal. A lot of people have been asking me about this, and there's been a lot out there in the media, a lot of wrong stuff about how this is going to be really bullish for the dollar because it's going to create all this demand for the dollar. It's just, yeah, and by the way, a lot of this stuff is written by very high level people. High level as in, they got some fancy job at some Wall Street firm or whatever, getting paid a lot of money, and they're clueless basically. First of all, it doesn't create any new demand. All right, it's the same demand. It just gets shifted from the foreign sector, where the demand that we have for foreign goods gets shifted to the domestic sector. We're still buying the same amount of cars, or the same amount of clothing, or the same amount of whatever tacos. If it's coming from Mexico, who knows? It's the same amount of demand. It just comes from a different area of output. All right. Before it was the foreign sector where the product came from. Now it's the domestic sector where the product comes from. Okay, so there is no increase in demand. Now those goods, in terms of, you might say still, well, we're going to need dollars to buy it. The goods, the consumption of those goods and services are financed domestically the same way they are financed when they come in as imports. They're financed through either credit creation here in the U.S. In other words, a bank will make, if you buy an automobile that was made in Mexico or Japan or wherever, or Germany, you get the bank, you take out a loan, a U.S. bank will give you a loan, and that credit goes to the U.S. bank of the foreign automaker. So the purchase, that's like why people say, China finances us. No, it's the other way around. All right, the creation of dollars either through bank credit or government spending is what finances the purchase. So that demand for dollars, in other words, we need the dollars to buy the goods, is met with an equal supply of dollars that are created either in the banking system or through direct government spending. All right? So there's no suddenly there's not enough dollars and everybody needs dollars. And there's suddenly no increase in demand. It's the same demand. It just shifts from the foreign sector to the domestic sector. That's it. So all these people talking about this stuff, they haven't thought it through. They don't understand. It's so flawed as to be ridiculous. And I'm telling you, you're hearing this stuff from very, I guess, what other people would call high-level economists. To me, they're jokers, man. They're just clueless. You don't have to go to you don't have to go to get a PhD in economics to understand this. As a matter of fact, that would warp your view. It would turn you into one of these guys who are completely wrong, completely, utterly wrong. But look, the way I look at it is it's fantastic because, this is what creates opportunity. If these people understood it, I wouldn't be able to make money. I wouldn't be able to make money. But the fact, and it's a beautiful thing, there's two things that are beautiful about it. Number one is the very fact that they don't understand it, right? It makes it so easy for me to just go take their money. So easy. So easy. And the other thing that is beautiful is the fact that they're never going to understand it. They're never going to understand it because it goes against their dogma. It goes against their belief system. And their belief system is so entrenched and it's so protected. It's what I've talked about in the past. Any credible science would go back to the drawing board when their theories are not, at least in some way, observable in the empirical evidence. Meanwhile, here you have this whole entire body of mainstream economics, Yeah, not just the guys on Wall Street, but in academia too, who see the total failure of their doctrines, and do they go back to the drawing board and say, yeah, something's not working out here? No, they stick to it. They dig in even more. So there's no risk whatsoever that these guys are gonna, catch on to reality and they become a threat to our profits. I mean, there's no way that's going to happen. There is no way that's going to happen. Like some of you say, oh, Mike, if you're so smart, how come you only have, 1,800 followers or whatever? But you don't understand. That's a fantastic thing. I don't know how many followers Schiff has, maybe 200,000, but I don't look at that as, oh, I wish I had 200,000. No, I say, that's fantastic, man. Keep it that way. I want it that way. To me, that's just this vast pool of fools whose money I could take. It's endless. It's like an endless supply of profits for me. Endless. It's never going to go away. Can you imagine that? I mean, you talk about, renewable energy and stuff like that. You talk about oil's going to eventually disappear one day, right? Maybe fresh water's going to disappear one day. My pool of profits that I could tap into is never going to disappear. It is never, ever, ever going to disappear. I mean, just think about that. So when you say things like that, oh, you only have 1,800. Schiff, you got 200,000. I'm laughing at you because you don't understand. To me, that's like the more the disparity there, the more I know that my bank account is just going to keep on growing and growing and growing. It's fantastic, man. It is fantastic. I'm elated. I can tell you. I gotta go calm down. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.